Did you notice the detail in episode 2 of The Last of Us, which indicates that Joel will still appear in the show, including until the 3rd season, which is already confirmed, even after all this that happened? Yeah, but what about the issue of the infected, even smarter than the game, with the intelligence that we see there in the herd, all the infected with strategic decisions, and the question about how Ellie will be able to find out about Abby's group, the clue that we can see in this episode, it was left there. Yeah, this is some details, reference and Easter eggs in the 2nd episode of the 2nd season of The Last of Us, and if you wanna know, stay here and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel, my name is John Victor and I'm back to talk about The Last of Us Season 2. Yeah, because this episode 2, it was the best episode of the show so far, it was the biggest event that happened. Like, spoiler alert, in this video I can't talk about details and Easter eggs without saying spoilers. Let's explain everything, but first don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion, and also don't forget to subscribe in this channel if you like more contents about The Last of Us and many other shows. Also, thank you for your patience with my English, I'm trying to practice more and more. I have my accent because this is not my native language, but let's go. Yeah, here's the point. There's no doubt that this episode 2 is the biggest episode of The Last of Us so far. It's the most important one, it's the biggest event, and also the biggest event in the video game, the original story. It's a sum of factors that happens in this episode. We can feel angry, we can feel fear, there's a lot of drama, a lot of action. But starting here, focusing on the issue of Joel's death and the revelations there, the first detail I want to bring is related to the sequence of Abby's conversation with Joel. The bigger space here in the series that doesn't have in the game and reveals to us that many survived. Yeah, the first detail is that a lot of people in that hospital in the 1st season survived there. Joel didn't kill everyone. It solves all the doubts that you might have about how Abby's group survived that hospital, because it was a very brutal scene in the last episode of the 1st season. This scene made it clear. Before start the golf club session, Abby reveals that there were 18 soldiers and a doctor that Joel killed. The total is 19 people. This is the count of dead at the Firefly hospital. When Joel went there to save Ellie, the only medical case would be her father, Abby's father, who is the only surgeon capable of making that vaccine that they were trying to do. This further proves how Abby's group survived and how several others still survived. It is quite possible that most Fireflies, it's like as much as in the scene in the last episode of the 1st season we see Joel killing merciless everyone who is in front of him, even those who are running backwards he shoots through. As much as we can see this there, Joel managed to kill 19 people there, which is a lot, but for the number of people they probably had there in the hospital, it was little. And something that we see in the season finale of the 1st season is that when Joel is going to be expelled from the hospital by Marlene, he seeks the direction of the surgery hall, and it's only on this section of the hospital that the focus was. That hospital has several other sections that we didn't see, had several other people there. This proves it. In fact, why did Abby's group survived? Because they weren't in that section, and when they arrived was no time. It was something quick, and there were several other Fireflies there too that survived and weren't there in that section. Yeah, it's already an interesting first point, but let's go to another part of the episode. Let's go to the next detail in this video. Let's talk about the issue of the infected, because here the feeling of danger that needs to be conveyed in this apocalyptic world, it was real, it was so strong. But I want to talk especially about the distressing situation between the characters, especially Joel, Dina and Abby. At the moment Joel saves Abby there. The detail here is about the behind the scenes. It was all filmed in a real snow. Yeah, none of this here was a studio, that is why it was very realistic. By the behind the scenes video that HBO reveals after the episode, we can see that from Abby running away from the infected alone until the moment Joel rescues her and they escape there on horseback from the other, they filmed everything in a snowstorm, a real snowstorm. All this was filmed in Whistler, a snowy region in Canada, in the mountains. The producer reveals that a real snowstorm was happening there, which made everything much more realistic. And also they revealed that it was very difficult to film. It was one of the most difficult scenes to film in the show because of the cold, the terrible feeling, and the actors still had to work a lot. So Pedro Pascal, Caitlin Dever, especially the two, and also Isabella Merced, they worked a lot. They did it very well. It was an amazing performance. It's interesting to know about this detail, but then taking advantage of the fact that we are talking about the snow and the infected and everything else, let's go back to a very important detail about the story, that this one is no longer behind the scenes. This here is especially about the herd that attacks Jackson and how they made them in the show much more complex, much more difficult. I want to talk about the infected hibernating, because we see it after Abby falls from up there. She ends up in a place where there is a herd of infected hibernating frozen, and the main point is that this capacity is shown only in the show. We don't see it in the game. Like in the game, we see one or the other infected, like only one frozen from Abby's perspective, but he doesn't come back there. Here we see on a large scale the entire herd hibernating, that they have this ability, and yeah, if you don't know, it makes sense for the real cordyceps, which is the fungus that we are talking about here. This fungus in real life can enter in this condition. So when we talk about The Last of Us story, we see that it evolved and it can infect humans. Now humans have that condition as well. And I say more, moving to the next point, the next detail in this video, which makes the infected much more dangerous in the show than in the game. I want to talk about the intelligent infected. But now not just about the infected that we see in the first episode. It's a stalker, which is a special one that worries the community. In the second episode, we have to talk about all of the infected in the show. All of them have this kind of ability, especially in this scene when they are shooting and destroying the infected in the wall. The wall is still holding up, and in that moment they decide to leave. It's a strategic decision of the fungus, the general conscience. It warned them, told them that the right idea is not to attack there. You will die. So follow the bloater, the big infected, the stronger one. Yeah, when Tommy doesn't understand why they are not attacking there anymore, it's precisely because they realize that the bloater is going there. He's going to open the wall for them to enter, so it's not worth attacking there. They have the ability to make strategic decisions. It's a very important point. Like, they made this decision before the bloater opens the wall. So it's intelligence. And also in the scene that we see Tommy fighting against the bloater, he needs a lot of fire, and the fire is still not enough to destroy the bloater. He died for it, but it's much more difficult than in the game. And talking about this herd, talking about the situation in Jackson, I like to move to another point. Another very important point about the dogs, which is visually an amazing scene to watch, one of the best in the episode here. And I want to reassure everyone that no, the dogs will not die. They are not at risk. They will not need to be killed. They will not become several clickers in Walking Dog version to kill people in the city. No. The point, the detail is that dogs are immune. Yeah, just like in real life, cordyceps is limited to a specific species. So in the show, it's the same thing. It evolved to reach humanity, but only humanity. It's limited to them. It will not affect animals. So you can be very calm about Jackson's puppies. But then, leaving this point a little bit, leaving this point about the infected, let's go back to Abby's scene, Joel's scene, all that impact, because it's the main thing and there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of details. I want to move to the next one. I want to start by talking about Abby's age, which here we can understand better than in the game. If I'm not wrong, I don't remember a scene in the game that they reveal Abby's age, an explicit scene. And yeah, in that scene when she's talking to Joel, she reveals about her father's death, and she says that when she found her father's body, she was 19 years old, which is the same age that Ellie is here. In this episode, when she is destroying Joel, she's killing him, Ellie has the same age that Abby had when she found her father's body. Like, they are purposely making the two characters have the traumatic experience at the same age. But keeping this in mind and remembering that in the hospital issue she was 19 years old, now that we are 5 years after that event, it means that she is around 24 years old here. Yeah, but Abby's details don't stop here, because we have another one that will be much more intense in the show than in the game. Yeah, the detail is that Abby will regret. Yeah, in the series, it seems that she will regret even more having done this than she was in the game. Like, in the game there, in the second half of the game, when she finds Lev and Yara, the issue of the Seraphites, which is the moment when Abby starts to get a little more sensitive, you start to notice that. It is most likely that she has already regretted having done all that with Joe at that point, because she has some feelings there. But in the show, it is look like that this will be much more explicit. First, because we see that Abby's group in the show clearly didn't want to. At least they wanted much less than in the game to accomplish all this. We can see in the episode 2, by the time they see Jackson and see the whole situation, everyone there is already discouraged. They are just waiting Abby to come back from the patrol to warn to her. There's no way, let's leave, like that. Here they show that Abby's group don't want to violate and hurt anyone and always emphasized this. This humanized them even more in the show, showing that despite the Joe's situation, they are good people. When Abby is killing Joe, we see some of them looking at her that she's going beyond the point. We see characters calling her attention. We see Abby reaching a point of almost kill Dina too. If Joe doesn't tell the truth, she will kill Dina. This shows that the group was out of step with Abby's motivation. Abby, who was blinded by revenge, but then when it shows her getting real, which in the series may be well before the game and with much more intensity, she will probably suffer for having done it. But okay, I talked a lot about Abby here, but then there's a point about Joe. Yeah, that you can see me talking about in the beginning of the video. Let's talk about the point that Joe will come back. He will continue to appear in the show, and it won't be in a few scenes. It will be in many scenes, many indeed. And you can ask why they will resurrect him. No, it's not the point. The proof about it is in the teasers and in the trailer for the season, which has not only one, not only two, not only three, but several scenes of Joe that have not yet appeared before this death. A lot of new scenes that we don't see in the episode 2. Joe, like the character's life is over. We see the moment where his story ends, but the whole story that was told, we haven't seen it yet. There are points in the story that are still missing, that will be shown little by little. A lot of scenes of flashback, a lot of scenes with Ellie in her birthday, a scene when Joe probably killed Eugene, the scene when Ellie finds out about the hospital and talks to Joe, and a lot of new ones. Yeah, and also in the third season, we will get to see more about him. Yeah, he will be still regular in the third season. There will be a lot of new flashbacks in the third season. And yeah, I talked about Abby, I talked about Joe, and let's talk a little about Tommy. Because here, there's a controversy. I want to talk about the most angry Tommy. And you are not hearing wrong. The possibility of Tommy being most angry by death of Joe was born. Most angry than in the game. And you can ask, how? How he's going to be more angry in the show than in the game if he wasn't even present at Joe's death? This here was a change. From it, you can think that he will be less angry. I know a lot of people may think that, but although it seems like a little bit of that, here in Jackson, there was something completely new for him that doesn't have in the game, which is the loss of the entire city destruction, the death of a lot of friends, a lot of people, but it happened when the news of Joe's death arrives. And it's not just news, it's the body that they are going to deliver to. We will see in the episode 3. It will be a heavy scene to watch, a graphic scene to watch. That's the key point of why he can end up being more angry than the game, because he can associate the attack of the herd with Abby's group. He can associate a trap that can associate that this was caused by them. Like, it's real, his feeling about Joe's death is not that strong as in the game because he didn't see it happen, but it doesn't take away the grief of the impact he will have when he finds out about Joe's death, which will be intense. Added to another impact besides that, he maybe want to delegate the blame to Abby's group. So in the game, he's there in the situation of Joe's death, but it's only one problem. And in the show, he's not there, but he will see his brother's body, and there's two problems: his brother's death and the situation about Jackson. Yeah, it's a great problem. And let's go back to talk about Ellie. Yeah, the next details about her perspective, because I want to talk about the path to Seattle, which has several indications here that lead to how they will achieve all this. How she will find out about Abby's group, about where they are. Here in this episode 2, it emphasized more than once that at this point in the story, Abby and her group are already part of a military group that is WLF. The Wolves from Seattle, the military group there. And the real name of them is Washington Liberation Front, which takes its name from the state where Seattle is located. And so not only does it point out to us, the public, the people who are watching, but in the moment that Dina and Joe arrive, there's a backpack there. Dina sees the backpack outside and hears names, hear the whole situation, so Dina will be the key piece to be able to deliver to him. Hear the whole situation, so Dina will be the key point to be able to deliver to her the pieces that she needs to be able to carry out this revenge here in the show. And that's how we got the way to Seattle. A lot of clues, and it remembers us that Dina in the show would it's most important in the game. And also I have to talk about the Ellie's injury. Let's talk about Ellie's broken rib. Yeah, because if you didn't understand, she will need more time to recover, because in this scene, when she screams and everything after Joel's death, she says that she will kill Dan, everyone. Manny goes there and kicks her right in the ribs. There we can hear the noise of the rib breaking, and in the trailer for the next episode there's a little detail that shows that she will be recovering from this. Apart from that, the reaction in the scene she has of shortness of breath, wanting to pull in the air very hard, it doesn't come properly and doesn't have much strength. It reveals to us a characteristic of someone who really broke a rib. And so, leaving this point, talking about the next detail, let's go back to Jackson. A very important point about Jackson: it is quite possible that the community will still restructure itself, and there's a way that can happen. But in this point, we see Jackson's end in the game. After all the situation that happened there at Abby and everything else, we see Ellie and Dina leaving the city and Jackson never appears again. It only appears in flashbacks. And especially in the show, it will not appear again either, because it's literally over. It's everything destroyed. A lot of people died. As I said, they can even try to rebuild, but it will take a long time, even longer than expected, because they don't have the main builder, which is Joe. So episode 3, which is the next one, should be Jackson's last appearance in the show. Will appear quickly, so it won't appear again even in the season 3. And also, there's a curiosity about the set. If you don't know, there are some drone images from the set when they were filming back in 2024. They built the entire place. Obviously, most of the Jackson will be CGI, but a good part, they built a small town in the region of Canada. It's a mega production, a lot of investment. Go write in the comments what you think about it, what you think about these details, what you think about the show. Don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. And also, don't forget to subscribe in this channel so you don't miss anything about The Last of Us. If you like more videos about The Last of Us, tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching this video, I'll be back soon, and bye!